Two things that are important for me. One of them is...
Hey everyone and welcome back. I'm Music by Lucas, and today we're gonna make a Mo Falk track with Mo Falk. Also, I thought it'd be fun to ask Mo some personal questions, so make sure to stay tuned for that and subscribe for more videos like this, career tips and demo streams. Mo Falk, hi.
How you doing?
How do we start a Mo Falk track? Tell us.
The first step is making a good chord progression. I usually start with my chord progressions because it makes sense to start with your chord progression. It lays a nice foundation for everything you want to do. You can put vocals on it, you can put a melody on it, and it just gives you like a very quick and easy start.
And this track, All Night Long. Can you talk a little bit about how the melody started with this one?
I think on stream, actually, I wrote these chords, and if we have a listen, they're not special at all, but they just have like a very nice, happy feeling, I thought, you know? If we go into the break, which is this section here, there's this piano. That was the basic idea, and I think as soon as I had that, I just added a little bit of like strings and shakers, and then I went over to recording the vocal immediately, because for this track I wanted to have something that was like, I like to write the vocals where it gets stuck in your head very easily. So I just need like a 8-bar loop, top line something, and I'll just repeat it and repeat it and repeat it until people really have it stuck in their head. And that's what I wanted to do with this one. So what you can see here in FL Studio is all of these layers are all vocal layers. And they went on to form... I'll be waiting for you all night long. There you go. And nice. I'm just repeating that over and over those chords. I'll be waiting for you all night long.
Now let's talk about the vocal layers, because there's so many different vocal layers that you have here. You know,
yeah.
What makes you want to add 9 vocal layers? Like, is it to try to add like more, you know, atmosphere, to try to make it bigger?
You see, the problem is I can't sing. I'm using layering to mask my performance flaws, if you were to say it like this.
Nice.
So I sing it like I put the bar, like the 8 bars or something, on repeat, and I just sing the same loop over and over again, like the same melody, exactly the same voicing of the melody of the vocal.
Yeah.
And in the end I'll have like maybe 20-30 takes of the exact same way of singing it, right? And I'll take the very best one, make it the main vocal, and then I'll use all of the very similar ones that are just slightly different, and I'll layer them under just in the back, and it masks all the little flaws and gives you like the bigger picture, right? Because it's more like a choir where you can't hear every individual voice, and they might be bad, but all together they sound good. This is the main vocal. As you can see, I made a mistake here, and I only panned one of the stereo layers. The other one isn't panned, so now theoretically the vocal should be a little bit right-sided, but I hope nobody realized that when I was making this. So you have the main vocal, which is this. I'll be waiting for you all night long. And then I have a second layer. I'll be waiting for you all night long. And a third layer. I'll be waiting for you all night long. And then all of them together. I'll be waiting for you all night long.
I love that.
So you get almost like a vocoder, but it's not a vocoder, it's real harmonics, real choir.
Very important question. Would you rather be in the studio with Don Diablo or having a romantic evening with the girl of your dreams?
You know, what you don't know is that Don Diablo is the girl of my dreams. Of course I would spend a romantic evening with Don. I mean, thank you. Don, you up for it?
How do you write your lyrics, by the way? Because you do your own vocals, which is really cool.
Two things that are important for me. One of them is it has to stick, right? So it has to be something that is easy to sing along to, easy to remember. Like, I don't want to have a very complex vocal. Like, I try to keep it very, like, concise, like, clever, smart, but, like, easy to digest. Like, I don't want to have, like, a very crazy melody that's, like, in theory super cool,
right,
but nobody in the real world could actually re-sing or, like, hum after or... Yeah, so that's the strength as well, right, with my vocals. I think that on the one hand, they're very simple, and also they're like easy to sing along to, but I think I have a very, like, not special, okay, I don't want to say special, but I have a special voice, not because it's very good special, but because it's particular. For me, right, I never thought my voice was good, because I have to listen to my voice every day and I hate it, but the feedback usually is like, yeah, it's not a professional vocal, but it has something.
You remember when we dropped your Wild at ADE last year?
Man, that was insane. And it was the first time I heard it live. And I think the cool thing with Your Wild was like, it was very easy to just like chip in, right? Everyone was like, bah, bah, bah. And it didn't matter because it was so loud. Nobody really knew what was going on and they were just going insane.
What is it about a track that makes you feel like this is one that I really want to finish, or this is one that's really special in comparison to your tons of other ideas?
I spend maybe 2-3 hours every day just making small ideas. And it comes down to whatever track really, like, okay, I sit in the studio, I make music like this, right? I'm like, okay, this is cool, right? But if there's one track where I'm like,
yeah,
then I know this is probably the one that I should finish, just because I think it's very important that the track makes you move and like gets you like the, right? Like the vibe has to be good. And for me, it's very clear when I'm just listening to it, if the vibe is like self-inflicted, like if it's actually but can I say if it's a bad part, right? And I know it's bad, but I'm still vibing with it. That's very different from it's a good track and I'm vibing with it because the track is good, not because it's something I made. And I think distinguishing between those two is very important. But once you do like realize, okay, this track has something else, has some idea, rhythm, vibe, melody, something that is in a way unique and cool, then usually I try to finish it.
Mo, can you name 3 German celebrities that nobody has heard of except for Germans?
Oh, dude. I don't think I can. Klaas Häufer Umlauf.
Amazing.
Pretty funny comedian. Then there is Mario Barth.
That sounds familiar.
You probably haven't.
Okay.
He's very famous, but he's very German.
We got the vocal, we got the melody, you know you want to finish the track. So what are the next steps?
I don't know if many people do this. I think most people nowadays do, but nobody really used to do it, is doing the master halfway. Like, don't finish your track and then do the master, but have like almost like a small backup master, like halfway through producing. And usually I put this on when I'm like happy with the rough idea. Like I haven't really mixed much, I haven't really produced, like maybe after 2 hours or something I do this. And I just put like a very crude, very basic master on my master.
Can you explain what that is, your basic master? Like what the chain looks like?
My basic master,
yeah.
It is really just an Ozone 8 here, some multiband compression, some EQ, and maximizing to get the volume. And that's it. It does help me finish the track because on one hand, it moves on from like just an idea to it sounds really freaking loud and very like it's part of the sound design almost. And also, it gives you like a better idea of what your mix still lacks and what you still need, because you might listen to your mix and be like, oh, this is very good. Then somebody puts a master on it or you put a master on it and you're like, it's cool, it's loud, but you know, this thing doesn't come through, this thing doesn't come through. And I avoid all of that by just having it right away. And also, the cool thing is it makes it very good very fast. Instead of having to work on it 4 days until you can send out a demo, you can send out a demo after 3-4 hours because it's already mastered, like for a demo. It's not mastered to release it, but yeah.
Well, that's a really good point, because sometimes you can't hear all the things in the mix, and then you turn on the master, it gets much louder. All of a sudden, these little things that you didn't hear before are sneaking out, or like you said, it doesn't sound as full. So yeah, I think that's a really good point. You got your mini master on there. Can you talk to us a little bit about like the drop?
I'll be waiting for you.
Yeah, so there is quite a bit of pitch automations going on. I like to have like, okay, very basically, 3 layers for every sound, so that you have a stereo, a mono, and something in between sound, so that you can always be sure that all your sounds are filling out the stereo width and depth the way they should. That's the first thing that has to work in the drop. Next thing is, I would say pitch automations, just so that it isn't so static, especially when the notes just come in, right? If the bass goes ba, it's different from if it goes right?
Yeah.
It's just a bit cooler.
Yeah, it's that's something special about your sound, I think, too, because when a lot of people hear your tracks, I think their reaction, kind of like when they hear like a Retrovision track as well, is it's kind of like, how did they do that? You know, it's kind of like this extra, and that's what shows, I think, the labels that you are here, you know, to be a serious producer.
For me, it's always like, do I max out my FL Studio channels? Like if I have 128 tracks, 125 or what it is, I kind of know I have enough sounds. If I'm finished and I have 50 tracks used, I'll usually go back in and add more variations, little switch ups and more layers, stuff like this. But it is also part of like my genre is electro house, right? And especially in electro house, it is very important to have little nuggets of like ear candy everywhere and cool switch ups and stuff like this.
Truth or dare?
Dare, dude. Let's go dare.
Do 20 push-ups.
Now?
Yeah.
All right.
This is why I do YouTube, to make people like Mo Falk do push-ups. Yes! Crushing it!
I didn't do 20.
Wow. What else are you doing to fill up the drop? 3 layers for your sounds, yes, and then effects.
Because you just said it, effects. I think it's very important to have reverb, but use it in a clever way, right? So if you just put a reverb on it and it's constantly playing, I don't think it works. So what I do is I have a reverb on, let's say, these chords, and let's listen to that. And you can tell the reverb is usually muted and sometimes it comes in. Then you can use it as an effect because to the listener's brain, it's like when the reverb comes in, it's like, oh, reverb. If the reverb is constantly there, it's just like, yeah, that's the sound, right? So I use it more as an effect and not as room and just have reverb there. More like as a suction thing where it's like, bam, and it like leads you next, like into the next. Yeah.
Where are you getting your samples from usually? Is it your own samples or are you just mixing in different ones from Splice or?
Samples is a big thing, right? Big topic. I think you have to find the right balance between using your own sounds, but then also using like working really good, well-produced sounds as well. So most of my kicks and drums like that are usually from Splice, just like Virtual Riot drums or even Kashmir drums still. And
yeah,
all of the little effects like percussions, hats, stuff like this, like toms, those things that I try to make myself because those are the ones that will stand out. And for the listener, it's much cooler if they have like a tom from the right, left, you know, something. And it's not a tom that they hear in every other track. It's like, oh, that was cool. Compared to, you know, oh, it's the Kashmir 23 tom that everybody uses. Yeah.
What would you say is like the biggest difference in your production between your breaks and your drops?
Drops and breaks, I try to keep them mostly like as close to each other as I can. I think the biggest difference is just having more bass, having more rhythmic elements. Like in the break, the most rhythmic thing I will have is probably a shaker or a hat or a clap or something like this, you know. Vocal isn't that rhythmic, chords aren't that rhythmic. But in the drop, you know, I'll have bass stabs, chords, little percussions, you know, small ghost notes, snares, just a lot more.
It's almost like a disco vibe even, like sometimes with your percussion. It's really cool. So basically what you're doing is you're trying to slowly build that energy up until the drop, and then you just kind of let loose.
Exactly. So for me, for the longest time, I was struggling in my own productions with getting the energy across that I wanted to have in my tracks. So I would have like a really cool break, really cool build up, and then my drop was like, nah, okay, right? It wouldn't bring the energy across. And I kind of made it my mission now to never do that again. So I always want people to, like when they have a crazy build up, I want them to be like satisfied with the drop. I think that's what I'm trying to do as well, is like, don't overpromise.
And can you talk to us a little bit about the sound design or the sounds that you're using? Is it mainly Serum or?
So in terms of sound design, I think the most important thing with my drops is usually the basses and switching it up between more than one bass, having like a sustained bass, having a very like plucky bass. And I think the synergy you can get from mixing those two together is really, really cool. And that's what I do. So here in this case, for example, I have one bass which is playing along with the chords, a different bass that is very similar but more heavy that I use as an effect. And then I have another bass which is like very stabby just to like emphasize the rhythm, right? So I'll show you all of them. This one is the one that's playing underneath the chords. It's actually called Steph da Campo. It's just a saw wave and it's low passed, right? So that here I don't get any high frequencies, and I think even here, yeah, I'm doing like a little bit of EQ, and yeah. Right, and this is really cool because if you play this together with the chords,
I love those reverbs. Like that is the key.
Yeah,
it's
the
so
reverbs
nice.
really do a good job. All right, so then, right, so I have chords, I have bass, and then I have this really crazy effect bass that I use.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That one does sound similar to the ones in the Mo Folk pack you did for us, like
Exactly.
the Serum presets.
It might
That
even
big,
be the
fat
same.
sound.
I'm not gonna lie. It is the same. It's just doesn't have the Team be
There you
out there
go.
because it is before I put it out. So on this one, I'm using like a lot of comp filtering, especially on the second part. Like you can tell the difference. This one is just normal grit, and on this one you get like a lot of high like movement.
Yeah.
And I'm doing this with just a normal comp filter. So let me go on here, and I'm just using Serum FX. I'm not. I thought I was using Serum FX. Come on. I'm using this one. Yeah, it's the lower one. So here you can see it's a comp minus. And as the note is playing, I'm switching up the cutoff
Yeah.
just a little bit. And it's like creating phasing in the high frequencies. And I think it sounds really, really cool. And it's just like, for me, this was the main sound of the drop. Like I wanted people to remember that sound. So I built the entire drop around that. And when I had this, I remember I was like, okay, this is cool, but it's kind of lacking something. Like the basses don't fill up well. So I added the third bass, which are these stabs.
Oh, yeah.
And without these, the entire drop actually doesn't work. So
Really, yeah, because you really missed the groove.
exactly. So with these, right, they just enhance whatever was there already, and they don't try to take the main, like, they don't want to be in the forefront, right? Compared to this main bass, which I had before, that really wants to be the main thing. But with the bass, with the short stabby one, it's like there's sometimes other stuff playing above it, and it's not really that crazy, but it really does a good job of filling out those empty spaces and give more like energy to then the main bass and the chords and stuff like that.
And I think that's what a lot of producers need to do more of, is like, if you notice your track has a vibe to it, in particular, like with this track, it's very funky, very groovy, then you gotta like almost like overdose on it. You gotta think to yourself, like, how can I make this more groovy? How can I make it more funky? Or if it's dark, how can I make it more dark? How can I make it, and you really wanna go to a point to where it's too much and then scale back, because you wanna get to that limit of like, how can I make this the most of that?
That is exactly, I couldn't agree more. And that's exactly what I do, actually. I try, like, I have a rhythm in mind, and it's how do I make it even more that rhythm, you know?
The finishing touches, the final touches, what are the things you look for before you say this track is complete?
It's funny, I have this conversation every week on my streams. It's basically, if you are at version 10 of your track, like I use this a lot. I do save as, so I save the project under a new like suffix or whatever. And then, I just keep doing that. And if that version dies or is corrupted or something, I don't lose all my progress. I just lose like the last 10 minutes or something like that. And I tell people, if you're not over version 20 or 25, it's not done.
There you go.
For me, that's usually the indicator. Sometimes, like I just made a track, it's at version 75 and it's not done.
I was going to ask you, what's the most versions you've ever had? So 75?
I think that's the one. Let me check very quickly. So yeah, I'm working on one. It's at version 58 right now. The other one was something with 70, but obviously I'm overdoing it with that one, and I've been working on it for a long time. But I think, yeah, have a lot of versions. And obviously don't just make save as versions to get to version 20, that's stupid. But as long as you're like using them in a like logical way and you're not constantly doing save as, I think like, okay, so that's like the very boring part, right? The more cool part is I think it's also done when I listen to it and I'm like happy to show it to someone else that I know has an influence on my career.
Yeah.
I can't describe it better, but for example, if I'm happy with the track and I send it to like other friends, right? That's not what I mean. I mean like if I'm confident enough to send it to maybe an A&R that I know or my manager or something like this, then for me it's like, okay, maybe it just needs like small touches, but it should be done.
Yeah.
And I hope, like I can only assume that my self like awareness and self-judgment is correct, because well, most of the time when I send it to people, they really like it.
That's great.
But I mean, obviously, like I have had times where I sent it to someone, I was like, this is really good. But it was maybe 4 a.m. in the morning and I didn't know what I was doing. And the next day I was like, I listened back to it and I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? Why did I send it to person X, right?
So don't send tracks at 4 in the morning, basically.
Definitely don't. Like, especially if it's a track that you've been like pouring your soul into, you don't want it to be rejected because you sent it at the wrong time. And people work during the day anyway, so if you were sending a demo, you want to send it during the day either way. And usually it's good to like have a good night rest and then come back to the track and see if you still want to send it.
And that is it for Mo Falk. Make sure you comment below which artist you want me to do a video like this with next. Become an official member of my team at teammbl.com/join. Subscribe here and to Mo Falk. And now you have to choose which video you want to watch next.